Here we are again, Baruch Hashem, Maseches Bava Metzia. I'm trying to make sure people can read what's on the whiteboard, but I'm not sure they can. So at this stage, I'm going to cover it. Okay. We are now learning Bava Metzia. We're in Tosfos, Hey Amud Beis. What I promised, I will fulfill, Be'ezras Hashem. We are learning about Choshid HaMamoino, Loi Choshid HaShvuasa. The Gemara assumes at this point, like Rabbi Yochanan, that a person that is suspected to be a liar or even a thief, such a person is not suspected to actually go ahead and be nishba l'sheker, to take a false shvua. That already we think is one step too much for him. We have a lot more to say about Choshid HaMamoino, and Baruch Hashem, we have this list here, which is also a chart in the computer I'm going to send you today, Lineder. But Lemaisa, yeah, what the Gemara says is that a person that's suspected, and we really think that he's hiding money in his house, and in his mind, according to our suspicion, he wants to steal, such a person is still believed that if he takes shvua, that would deter him, that would stop him from actually continuing and really steal the money. Says Tosfos, the Choshid HaMamoino Lo Choshid HaShvuasa, it's the fifth Tosfos, the big Tosfos here on the side. Nire says Tosfos, Dainu time. What's the reason? Mishum the Shvua Chamura. Shvua is really more severe than stealing, or at least, says Rashi, in the eyes of the people. When Hashem says Lotisa, yes, the world shook, the world was physically shaken, and therefore people take it very seriously. The Shvuas, Sheker, is something people just don't do. Some would maybe, but the regular Joe Schmo, run-of-the-mill Gazlan would not be Nishba Sheker, which begs the question which people asked here before. V'im toimar, says Tosfos, in Ken, amai Gazlan tosul l'Shvua, the Omar shekeneged Nishba v'noitel. We saw in the Mishnah, in Rosh Hashanah, in Shavuos, some people are known Gazlonim. There are people who are either mamish thieves or people who are semi-thieves, white-collar thieves, like the people, the roim, or the people who are gamblers, or the people who are whatever, they deal with all this funny stuff, monkey business. Those people are gazlonim, and they are not named on the shvua. And that's why if this guy stands in court, instead of him taking the shvua, what do? We flip it over to the other side, to the toveh, to the plaintiff. Why? You just said that even thieves are scared of shvuas sheker. The Shloimer answers Tosfos, the Gazlan loy posel l'shvua elam d'Rabbanon. Really midoraisa, a Gazlan would be kosher l'shvua. Why? Because the Gazlan is scared. Rabbanon, they're the ones who passeled him. I'm asking, so what? If we say that a Gazlan is posel l'shvua midorabanon, so our guy, yeah, we're trying to say here in our Gemara that the person who attempts to be goizel now and he hides the money in his pocket. And two Eidim came and they said, when he said he doesn't have the money, we saw that he has the money. So he's now being a Gazlan. If so, still, if you say Rabbanon, you move it to the Rasa to the Rabbanon. So what? Why is it still that we say that this person is believed in Shvua? We just said that with Rabbanon, he's not believed. Even though he's scared of the Shvua, he's not believed in his Shvua. The answer will really be only in Tosfos' second answer. But I'll tell you the answer already now. In other words, to understand this Tosfos, you have to understand like this. There's a difference, as Tosfos later on says, and as the Ran says here, very interestingly, you should see the Ran inside. Basically, the answer is very, very easy. Really, all Gazlonim are scared of Shvua. There are guys that are Rabbanon. On who are the guys there? On an old-time Gazlan. A person who's already a known Gazlan, he already stole last week and maybe last year and maybe 10 years ago and never showed remorse, and he still has stolen stuff in his house. Such a person, on him, they made a shvua gzera d'Rabbanon. This person should not be nishba. Our guy, and listen carefully because it's a big yesod, and that's already here on the charts. Our guy is not an old-time thief. He's not a known thief. The known thief, he cannot take shvua. He's already in the black books, and as long as he doesn't do chazor b'tshuva and breaks his gambling things, says Gemara, he has to break in front of Beth Din with real remorse his roulette, his blackjack, I don't know, and show us that he has no entry anymore to Las Vegas and Atlantic City. Like that's it. He has an injunction on him not to go there. As long as he doesn't do that, he's be'etzim a person he's already a Gazlan. he is not neman b'shvua midrabanan. However, now comes the big yisoid. Our guy, who's our guy? He's the person who's in the middle of a court case, right? He's now hiding something in his back pocket and he's now lying. If he wins the court case, his Gezela attempt will be successful, but he's not yet a known Gazlan. He's now trying, as far as we know, for the first time, legally, in a white collar way, he's trying now to steal through lying and keeping it in his back pocket or his backyard. And we know that he's lying. That kind of guy, that kind of guy who's Choshid Amamoina is a question. And according to Rabbi Yochanan, that question mark is, he is Ne'eman. En chinami, if we make him do Shvua, he's not yet a Gazlan. It's not about giving a chance because he's a misken guy. No, he's just not yet a Gazlan. Such a guy, we assume, will be deterred by Shvua, and we're not Goizer Nim Zikzer Derabanan. Now, just to complete the picture, there's the third guy. Most people in our story, such as Moide B'Miktsas, and such as the Shomer with the funny stories about the animal, they are a third level called Ishtamut Ishtamit. Ishtamut Ishtamit is the one who wants to avoid, to evade, evasive. This kind of guy wants to buy time. And when he tells you, I only have half, he's not even trying to steal at all. He's less than Choshud Shvuasa. Now you have all three boxes filled. And this guy, Lekula Alma, is believed. Why? He's not Choshid Mamoino. He's a liar, but not a thief. The only one so far that we saw that is suspected really, meaning that if he goes along, he's really trying to steal from you. In my worst, the worst alternative I have in my mind about him, the worst idea is that he really wants to steal, is the guy who says, no, I have no pikodon. And the Eidim are made that as he was talking, he lied, and he really does have the pikodon in his backyard or in his back pocket. This guy is highly suspected to be a Ganev, but he still believed B'Shvua. Why? Because he didn't yet steal. He's in the middle of the process of stealing. That kind of guy, that man is still given the chance. He's not yet, the Gzer Darbanon doesn't apply to him. And therefore, he, according to Rabbi Yochanan, Choshid Amamoino, he's suspected to now trying to play games with you. But he didn't yet manage. That guy is Ne'eman B'Shvua, according to Rabbi Yochanan. That's Choshid Amamoino, lo Choshid Shvuasa. Continues Tosfos, and soon you'll get it even clearer. Ule Eidus to Posum Deoraisa. Now, don't confuse Shvua and Eidus, although they're very similar. To be a testimony, no. To be an aid and give testimony, the Gazlan is Posum Deoraisa. It says a Rosho cannot be an aid. Nothing to do with money. It can be a Gazlan, it can be somebody who shaves his car, and the guy's wife doesn't cover her hair. It could be a guy who watches the funny movies, whatever. This kind of guy is a Rosho, and therefore he can't be an aid. The Yesh Meforshim, some say on behalf of B'Shem Rav Yudah Chosid, you know why the person who's Choshid Mamoin is suspected to be a thief, that's number 2 by us, and still believed to be a good guy and be deterred by Shvuas Sheker, Mishum Deshem Alidei Shvua Yifosh Megezel. By taking Shvua, he'll remove himself and will stop and be deterred from Gezel. Aval Gazlan Vadai, the Gazlan who's a known Gazlan, he has dark history already, has a dark past. Moshe Mimamen Eno Poirish, Odin Mishvua. In other words, according to this answer, Shvua and Mamoin are not worse than each other in the eyes of the Gazlan. This Gazlan, who already is known to be a Gazlan, we all know that the armchair in his house and the carpet in his house are stolen. So he has no problem being Mamish, a Ganev. At the moment, he already has history of Gneva. He has stolen goods in his house. Such a person, why should he be deterred from Shvua? The second answer says that people do not view Shvua worse than other Isurim. But our guy, number 2 over here, who is a question mark, is suspect, because he's not known yet to be a Ganev, he's now trying to be a Ganev. He's trying he's sort of like, this is his first attempt in the profession. He's in a trial period in the Ganev group. So then that guy will be deterred by Shvua, according to Rabbi Yochanan. Now, when we have these 3 boxes, the sugya is much, much, much easier. And the third option is who? Most people, except for who? The guy which we suspect grabbed the talis from his friend, which is Rabbi Yochanan, yeah? Or the guy who bluntly says, I don't have any pekodon of yours, and they him see, right? He's not ishtamutiti. He's really suspected to now, for sure, trying to be goinev. But because it's the first attempt, he's not yet a ganev. He's now in the process of becoming one. He's still not so shakua ba'avera. He would be deterred, according to Rabbi Yochanan, by shvua. And on him we say, choshed amon l'choshed shvua. These are the three options we have here. And from now, we can continue the sugya and also make the screen look more normal, which is also important. Yes. Okay, good. Nobody has any questions, of course. Yes, questions. Yes, and then we start today's shiur. Yeah, I'm listening. 1 second. I just say the one hand that gezel is something that's very hard to be poirish from. In other words, the guy who has stolen goods in his house, for him, as we saw in Bava, right, in Daf Tzadidalid, it's very hard for people to really get rid of all their stolen stuff, stolen goods, right? So the true process is hard. So since he's unfortunately in the muck of the Aveira of Gzela, he'll also add another thing of Shavuot Sheker, according to the second teretz. That's Midoraisa, not Midorabanan. It's opposed to the first teretz, which is Midorabanan. I would continue unless there are specific questions. Yes? Let's just review a person, even with Pikodoin, who tells you funny stories, he tells you, let's say it's not by me. As long as there are no edim that the thing is by him at that very moment, we still sort of dan lekaf schus and we say, listen, maybe he lost it and he's buying time and he wants to find it, got stolen, he wants to get it back. So for now, he's telling you tall tales and he's really working really, really hard to find it. Why is he using that mechanism? I don't know why people's psychology is that way. You know, I would have said the truth, but okay, I guess I might. But some people prefer to look good by denying. That's how psychologically some people work that way. Weiter. Yeah, some people they have a disease, that they prefer to lie rather than to say the truth. You know, that's such a thing. They can say the truth very easily without getting into trouble. No, they still prefer to lie. I know such people. Weiter. Yeah, no time for my soapbox now. What? Politicians. Weiter. Yeah, weiter. No time for that. Okay, Ella, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 or so lines from the bottom of the page. Line starts with the word biyode. Ella, frag more like this. Now we have a question on Rabbi Yochanan. What did Rabbi Yochanan say? He may be suspected to be a thief. You're not suspected to be a nishba the sheker. And by the way, what was his biggest proof? Although we threw away that proof from Moed B'Miktzas. The Torah says he has to take shvuah. Let's leave that aside. Here comes another question. Ravuna says as follows. It's a case which we've seen before, and it's a challenge against Rabbi Yochanan. It says Ravuna like this. Let's say there's a person who's a shomer, you name it, shomerchinam, sachar, shoyal, whatever you name it, throw the dice, and you gave him very nice jewelry of your wife because you're going away at Simmer and you're scared that your house is not so secure. You gave him 5,000 shekels jewelry that belonged to your wife. And what does he tell you? When you come back from the holiday, he says, I'm so sorry. Wow, I'm so sorry. Really, that he was stolen and it's my fault and it's really wrong with me. And I'm going to pay right now. Here, 5,500 shekels actually. Yeah, in an envelope, go buy yourself a new jewelry. I'm so sorry what happened. I was sorry. No, it was really 5,500 to begin with. So then, oh, what a nice guy, what an honest guy. He looks very nice, big smile, and very crisp English. So you say the guy's a nice guy. What's here to suspect him? Maybe he wants a jewelry for his own wife. Well, no, his wife likes him more than your wife. So she thinks they're going to move house anyways. You're not going to know she's going to wear it. In other words, he wants to illegally buy it from you. He wants the jewelry for himself or his wife, yeah? And therefore what? He lies to you that he lost it or whatever. He's paying you the full price, but really the jewelry is in his wife's jewelry box. And soon they're running away to Acapulco, where she's going to wear it all day long, right? Mimela, so what's his Avera? Says to his, he's a gentle Chamson. He's a white-collar Chamson. Chamson is the guy who forces you, with a gun blazing. This guy is a white-collar, evasive kind of a Chamson. He forces you a sale in a sly way. He's engineering a sale against your will. So what do we do to avoid it? Again, we all know what that means. Besides the shvua, or let's say there's no other shvua, let's say he admits, I'm sorry, I was posher. I was on my smartphone and I don't know, something happened, the dog ate it. Yeah, it's really my fault. But we still have to give him shvua that it's not in his possession. Break the more, wait a second. So he'll be nishba. And if he won't be nishba, then he's going to break and give him back the jewelry. Break the more, why? Nema, let us say, migu de choshid amamoino, choshid ashvuasa. Let us say, choshid amamoino, choshid ashvuasa. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's not a challenge on Rabbi Yochanan, actually it supports Rabbi Yochanan. Why don't we say choshid amamoino, choshid ashvuasa? Right? In other words, what do you suspect him? You always have to think, what's the worst scenario you're imagining? That the guy is a chamsan, right? The guy basically does something illegal and he's not buying time. Which buying time? He's buying jewelry. He wants the jewelry to stay on his wife's body for the rest of her life, right? As opposed to those nice guys, number 3 on the board, who are the ones who are, stock for cash. Yes, I'll give it. No, he's in a position of power. He wants to have it, and he's a lowly, not thief, but close, chamsan. So if you suspect him that he wants to legally steal, but it's still called halachically kind of theft, like a chamas, then why do you believe him in shvua? And he can't tell me that he's mishtamet. Mishtamet what? He'll never give them back to me. And says the Gemara, it's all about psychology, what people think. Also, Manami over there too. Moire, what's moire? What you many times says, one of the people here says many times, moire heter. The Omar domika yavnale. In his mind, he's okay. He says, I give him money. You know what he says to himself, to his wife, and to his Facebook friends, I don't know who? He says, I gave money. I'm not a thief. I gave money. It was 5,570 agorot. I paid down to the last penny. The guy's a chamsan. The guy's doing an aveira. In his mind, listen carefully, psychologically, he thinks he's okay. But he knows that shvua is not okay. A guy who thinks that this kind of gneva is an okay, white-collar, good gneva to do, okay gneva, and Hashem really loves me in spite of it, he will not do shvua, because in his mind, shvua is worse than that. It's all about what people think, get me? And therefore, there are many, many averas people do, and there are many other averas that don't do, and many times, if you look at in the echelon in halacha, many times people speak lashon hara, which is way worse than other things which they don't do, right? In other words, that's what's going on over here. Because he thinks he's okay, beside his own spiritual ego, he won't stoop down, he won't go that low to be nishba l'sheker. And that's why he still believed, which, by the way, gets us to the halacha about edus. It says in halacha, according to Rabbi Akiva Eger, argued with the Chavos Yoyer, what happens to edus? Let's say there's a community of frum people, and there, you'll be surprised, and you're going to throw tomatoes at me, you. And let's say there in that community, all very nice, good people, the women don't cover their hair. They keep Shabbos kosher, many halachas are covering the hair, like in Lithuania, even by the very from people 100 years ago, they don't cover their hair. 1 second, please. A person from Lithuania many years ago, from other places, they're not aware of that. They know it's written, but it's somewhere in the foggy memory, somewhere in the gray cell. And let's say a person who's very Shemite, except his wife doesn't cover her hair. Such a person in that community, according to Yeager, is Neman Leidus. Why? Because in his mind, he's doing the right thing. He is a frum Jew, and he's an honest person, and he does the best he can in his social circles. Not that it's okay that she doesn't cover her hair, don't get me wrong. But Lemaisa, because he's not a Toiretz Geder, translate to English, then he's not, breaking the rules. He's not a maverick, a davkanik. Mimela, such a person, according to Rabbi Akiva Eger, is Neman b'Shvua. According to the Chavos Yoyer, is not Neman b'Shvua. Even the Edus are more. Mimela, it's all about how people view themselves. And wait a minute, questions are welcome in 3 lines from now. On the same person, on Mr. Chamsan, doesn't he know that if he covets, he's jealous and he covets those jewelry, he's over Lotachmod and eventually got the jewelry. Now my darling has it. Says over Lotachmod, doesn't know the Doraisa, doesn't know the 10 commandments. Doesn't know about it. Answers the Gemara, it's all in people's minds. Lotachmod leinshi, what people think About L'tachmod, the regular Joe Schmo in the street, below domi mashmalahu. People think that a person who stole without money, who actually took someone else's possession slyly or brutally without money, is over L'tachmod, and they're wrong. Because L'tachmod, and that's halacha l'maisa, my friends, is even if you push someone and push and push and push and neg him to sell you something, you go to your friend's house and he has a beautiful forum cupboard, a beautiful, I don't know, picture on the wall, okay? He has a very nice picture on the wall, and you chayim it. Oh, I wish this picture was in my wall. Yeah, it would fit me much better, would suit my dining room better, and you drive him crazy, and you don't have to pay money, and he sold you with money, yeah? That you're over l'tachmod. You're over l'tachmod. Unbelievable. Why? Because if he's selling you even with gritted teeth, he's not so happy to sell you. You go crazy, drive him crazy, that's l'tachmod. However, people don't know that. The regular Joe Schmo in the street, who's our guy over here, who slyly forced the sale, engineered the sale in the jewelry and the back door, I have them and I paid the guy and I lied to him, that person does not think he's over l'tachmod. He thinks l'tachmod are only people who don't give money. Again, it's the same logic as before. In his mind, in his psychology, he's Mr. Nice Guy. I paid. For some people, money is everything. You know that. You know, some people can be cruel to the wives. I support her. So what? Very nice to support her. So what? You know, I pay membership so I can talk in shul all day long. You know, like they think money is just everything. You know, I pay. Kilo money is all mashtriot. It's very nice you pay. So what? It doesn't. Life doesn't start and begin with money, right? And Mimela, here too, that's the idea of this guy is wrong. But Lemaisa, since he thinks he's a good guy, he Lemaisa will not stoop lower into Shvuas Sheker. The Shvuas Sheker, every child knows, is a terrible thing. That's Gemara's answer, and therefore we make him swear. But we're still back to square one, which is good. We still hold with who? With Rabbi Yochanan. Choshid Mamoina, Loi Choshid Shvuasa. However, that story over there belongs to group number 3 of Ishtamuti. It's a guy who's not outright to steal. In his mind, at least, he's a good guy. He doesn't see himself as a thief, and therefore he's really Ne'eman b'Shvua. And now we're going to start Daf Vav Amud Aleph, which is today's shiur, and we have 3 questions, and then we're going to continue. Remember of Nachman's halacha, Mashbin oiso Shvuas Heses. What Shvuas Heses? Rabbanon. Let's say a person is approached by someone who says, you owe me 1,000. And he says, I owe you, know how much? 0 times 0 divided by 0, nothing. Midrabanon, and only Midrabanon, Rav Nachman says, we do suspect him that if there's smoke, there's fire. If there's a claim, that means there's something going on. And therefore, what do we say? He has to take Shvuas Heses. Now, this guy is opposed to Moed Miktsas. His style of approach is not 50-50. He says nothing in a blatant way. Now, if we say that there's smoke, there's fire, so we do suspect him that something's going on. So simply you suspect him that what? That he's stealing, that he's denying money that is in his pocket, right? If so, why don't we say Neima Migud Choshid Mamoina Choshid Shvuasa? If you suspect him of hiding money in his back pocket, why don't you say that it's also suspected on the Shvua and Shvua won't help? You guys may ask the question of Tosfos. Today is our day for Tosfos. Frek Tosfos is a very obvious question. Before Tosfos, stop right there. What did we say before, Tzvi, about the Pikodon? Where's the cow? The cow is not here. As long as we don't know that there are Eidim that as he was talking, at that very moment he has money in his back pocket or in backyard, as long as we don't have the very in-your-face contradiction, we down the kafschus that he's buying time. So why don't you say the same thing here? Just because he sounds more chutzpahdik, it sounds more nothing. So what? Maybe he says nothing, and really the 1,000 shekels that he owes the guy, he wants to buy time and he wants to, evade him for now. Frek Tosfos, Tema, the first Tosfos, easy to locate. Why don't we say over here that he's mishtamet, that he's avoiding and evading? Yeah, same thing. Yeah, maybe he's saying nothing because he wants to sound even more credible and more chutzpahdik. But in his next salary, he will give you the 1,000. Shloimar, the Rav Nachman mechayev Shvuas Heses, afilu heicha shetoivoy ve'omar ze hachefetz shu beyodcho, ze hachefetz shu beyodcho shelihu, velo shaykh ishtamuti. Get it? In other words, Rav Nachman talks in all cases. Let's say I come to Kolel and I say to somebody over here, your mask, such a nice mask, yeah? Your mask is mine. I love masks so much. And I say, your mask is mine. And you say, what? No, the mask is not yours. Now, there's no way to avoid it. Why? Because if, no you, not you, if the guy with the mask, someone, not you, if someone in the mask comes here and I said that mask is yours, and he says, no, it's not, and it's in our faces, we see the mask right over here, in case he's lying, there's no worth of buying time. It's not like, he lost it and he wants to find it. If the object that is right here in Beth Din or in Kol or wherever, this cup is mine, no, it's mine, and he holds it, Al Hatzad that he's lying is also blatant thief, mamish, because it's not lost and he wants to find the Veda or he wants to buy time and blah, blah, blah. It's right here. It's a cruel, no power of cruel war. It's either he's lying and stealing or he's not lying and stealing and I'm the one. Cruel. In such a case, is a vada, is choshid amamayno. I don't know he's a thief, but he's definitely the worst version we have of him is that he's trying to hold on to the cup which I claim is mine. Oh, in that case, we say, why don't we say, if you don't like Rabbi Yochanan, why don't you say, hey, the guy, al-tzad that he's stealing, then don't let him. By the way, guy number 2 is a question mark. I keep talking like Rabbi Yochanan, but there are always 2 options. Do we or don't we say the guy who's now trying to steal, is he believed or not believed? We're now pushing towards saying that he is believed. Look, like the case of Shvuah says, he's believed in a Shvuah. The 2, and another question, and we're now throwing artillery bombs to prove Rabbi Yochanan right. The 2, another proof. The same case which we've seen twice already. Remember the pizza shop and the boys who were painting his house? What happens then? He told the poilim, he told his workers, Mr. Balabait, Mr. BB, told his people, please paint my house of the Rosh Hashanah. Paint the house, paint the house. And at the end of the day, you go to the Makolet, the pizza store, the guy will give you food and that food will be your salary. He called the pizza store owner, give the guys nice, very nice anchovy and mushrooms, 10 different trays of pizza, and I'll pay you. Balabais owes both sides potentially, right? He owes them the money, which will be paid through the Makolet guy, and Balabais will pay the Makolet. Could work all very nice. He gets angry phone calls and texts from all sides. They say we didn't get anything, and the guy, the pizza store owner, says I did give them. Oy, oy, oy. So somebody's for sure lying. They both are standing on the back feet. They say we're not given not one crumb of pizza. And the pizza store owner says, yes, you did. I gave you. So somebody here is lying. What do we say then? Somebody is a liar. Somebody is choshid amamoino. Maybe first time, but he's at least number 2. Choshid amamoino. And what do we say? Well, they both take shvua, right, and take from Balabais. They each one nishba that his version is right, and they take from Balabais the money, and he has to pay double. Why does he have to pay double? It's his fault for creating an unhealthy triangle. He should have made sure it's all be'edim, and he didn't. Remember? Balamaisa, wait a second. There's for sure a liar here. They say, we got the pizza. We didn't get the pizza. He says, I gave the pizza. When? Same time, 9 o'clock last night. So there's a liar here, and they make both nishba. There's no evading, shmevading. They also want to take the money. They're not avoiding anything to keep the money. They want to get cash. Sounds like somebody's trying to make a quick buck over here. Yeah? Why don't we say that the one who suspected, if you're not with me, Rabbi Yochanan, why didn't you say the one who suspected the money, which is actually both, is not believed in the Shvuah? You see time and again, Rabbi Yochanan is right. Even the person who's now for the first time trying to be a mamish thief is still believed in the Shvuah. Shvuah would deter him. The 2, a third and last proof, pro Rabbi Yochanan. Give me Yud. The 2, Hodam Rav Sheshes. Comes Rav Sheshes. Yes, of course I can be lying. There's the employer. The employer is not lying. No, the employer is not lying. No, no. No. Somebody's lying. They say we didn't get, and the pizza shop says they gave. That's all. That the other one's like the owner will have to pay both after they took shvuah. Dom of Sheshes. Says Rav Sheshes that the third proof. Sholosh shvuas mashbin oisoi. When a shomer chinam, Rashi takes a case of shomer chinam. The shomer chinam, the shomer chinam, when the shomer chinam says, "Oh, I'm sorry, but it's not my fault. I'm so sorry that your computer that I was looking after has milk all over it and it's destroyed because it's now milchig, whatever. Now there's one, the computer is now completely destroyed. Now what? Even Tzvi can't fix it. That's real bad news. Yeah. What happens then? So would we say, oh, shomer chinam is potur because he wasn't pshia, he was oines. His little kid came and he was not uncontrolled, whatever. I couldn't do anything about it. A lion came, something came. Do we just let him off the hook? We believe a shomer chinam that it was not his negligence, providing he swears 3 shvuas, no less than 3. What are the 3? Shvua shaloi poshati bo. Okay, that's easy. Shvua d'oraisa, no pshia. You claim you're not poshea. That's nice. I also learned it. My son, Baruch Shem, is 7 years old, just learned it. And this chart is in his notebook. Very nice. Even my 7 years old knows that pshia for shomer chinam is chayev. If it's not pshia, it's potter. But take a shvua. The inishba, that's the raisa. Shvua number 2. Shvua shelo shalachti bo yad. What's that? And that's what we spoke about yesterday. If the person was sholeach yad, which means, let's say Mr. Shomer Chinam decided that my computer is really nice and shiny and new, and his wife is using the computer. Now he wants to use mine against my will. He opens it and he gets the code and he starts typing his emails illegally against my will, against my knowledge. What? Without me knowing. He uses it without my consent. That's called sholeach yad. And therefore, and then he closes the computer as if nothing happened. And then you know what happens? Thunder, lightning come, boom, and the lightning, complete oinus. A robber comes and takes it, he's chayev. He's chayev. Why? Once he's sholech yad, he's not loyal to the owner anymore. He's now like a gazlan, and a gazlan is chayev by everything. A gazlan is chayev even by oinus. So if you want to get off the hook, you have to be nishba, it's not pshia. And also you have to be nishba that not only it's oinus, there's no shlichus yad prior to the oinus. Because if there was shlichus yad before the oinus, then the oinus would mechayev you like a gazlan. Everybody here has PhD in Bava Kama, and everybody here knows that a gazlan is chayev oinus. Gazlan, there's no remorse. We don't have any rachmanos on the gazlan. He's koina. It's like his. Is chayev. That's shvua number 2. Shvua number 3, which is the most important for us. Shvua she'ena bil shusi. Remember the guy with his wife in the jewelry? Remember him? Oh, he has a cousin who's even worse than him. Shvua she'eni b'shusi means like this. Let's say that shomer chinam, you know what happened to the jewelry? You know what happened to the computer? They're resting very nicely in his backyard, and he's about to move to Chutz La'aretz with my possession. Now, with my possessions, make him be nishba. Now, what does he say? He lies. He lies mamish. He's worse than the other guy. What does he say? He tells me a tall tale that it's nenas, shmenas. So, be nishba, that what? That it is, right? Nenas. Be nishba, that you're not shalach yad. And be nishba, it's not in your possession. Now, this guy, in other words, we have one suspicion. One of the 3 suspicions is that he's mamish holding it, and without paying, through lying, without even money, he wants to keep it by him. That's the blatant, lowly ganav. And we make him take a shvua, even though we seriously suspect that he's a ganav. Now, he's not number 3. Why? Of course he knows he's wrong. He's not paying money. It's not l'tachmat shmachon. He knows he's stealing with no money. And he's not buying time. Which buying time? He wants to save that computer for the rest of his life. And therefore, who is he? Number 2. He's number 2. He's the one who's at least choshid shvuasa, maybe for the first time. And yet we believe he's shvua. Why? Name a migud choshid mamayna choshid shvuasa. Why don't you say just like suspected to be a lowly mamish thief, also choshid shvua? Ela bam 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 bam. Hazel tov. Lo yamrinan migud choshid mamayna choshid shvuasa. We've proven with light and thunder, kolos b'brakim. We proved that Rabbi Yochanan is right. The one who's suspected on Mammon is not, even though he's not an evasive guy, he's a guy who does want to steal. Now, for the first time, first attempt, he's not choshid shvuasa, and really he would be deterred by a shvua. Ad kan shitas Rabbi Yochanan, v'zeh alohe. Halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan. I didn't see it inside so much in Shulchan Aruch, but Mechavrusa and also other indications. That's the halacha. Yeah, we're not yet in North Korea. We can ask questions now, and that's a good time actually to ask questions. Because soon we're going to see Abaye's opinion, who argues on Rabbi Yochanan. Yes, I'm listening to every word you're saying. Break. Weiter. Abaye says, Chayshinan Shema Mil veYeshana Yesh Lo Olav. Abaye has a completely different story. How did you get to Rabbi Yochanan? Anybody? Everybody? Who's Rabbi Yochanan? What did Rabbi Yochanan say? Rabbi Yochanan said, why do the two people in the Mishnah have to take Shvua? Why do they have to take Shvua? We said, you know why? Because we're concerned that they both, Enochinami, one of them, were concerned, Mamish stole from his friend. He grabbed the talis after davening from his friend. Ganev, like from the movies, the Ganev Mamish. Says Abaye, no. Says Abaye, what did Rabbi Yosef say? Even though we suspect him to be a Ganev, we don't suspect him to be Nishba. Says Abaye, wrong. That's Rashi explains Abaye. Says Abaye, no. Somebody who's suspected to be a Ganev, I would not believe his Shvua either. Mr. Number 2, Choshid Mamoina, yes, Choshid Shvua Sa. Abaye has a lot to answer from the previous proofs. However, Abaye explains the Mishnah first. Chayshinan Shema Nilva Yeshana Yeshloi Olov, which means like this. Says Abaye, a normal guy would not just a normal run-of-the-mill frum person would not grab a thing out of his friend's off his friend's back, shirt off his back, and take it. That's not normal. You know what I suspect here? That really the one who was wearing the talis first, yeah, and the guy grabbed it from him. You know, I grabbed it from him because he thinks that really he's sure the second guy who grabbed is sure that Mr. Reuven, the one who walked with the talis first in the street, owes him money from a long time ago, and it looks like he forgot about it. Halacha says that if somebody owes money, Jeffrey, we discussed it yesterday, if he has no money now, you take his shirt off his back, not the shirt, you live in minimal clothes, minimal things, but you take his possessions. Says the guy, this guy, I've been trying to catch him for a long time, he's avoiding me. Al-Khat, his talis. Now, I'm not saying if it's okay or not okay to take the law into your hands, but Lamaisa, this guy, the reason why he's Nishba is because he's really not doing something dishonest. He's doing something out of the box to take the law, but he's not stealing anything. In his eyes, at least, yeah, and he may very well be right. He's taking what he really deserves, and therefore I'll make him take shvua because he's a really honest person. He's not a ganav in the attempt. That's why. But the real ganav, he's not believed. Greg the Gemara, you portray him so nicely. He's the guy who's really owed money, right? And really half the talis is his, or maybe even the whole thing, because if you owe him 5,000, then the 5,000 talis is also owed. So give him the half without shvua. So give him the half without shvua because he's really owed. He's really right. He's really right. Even though Reuven was walking down the street, and Reuven is the one who bought the talis in Mishkan Atcheles, Shimon is also right. Because 2 years ago, there's a debt on him. If so, it's too good. So why do you make him take a shvua? He's a good guy. Everything is fine. Ella, therefore, Abaye tweaks what he says. Chayshinan Shema Sofek Milve Yeshana Yeshlo Olov, which means this guy Shimon says, or is walking down the street. Hey, here's Reuven. You know, Shabbos morning, everyone walks with a nice white pristine talis. Reuven has a nice one with an Torah, and I'm almost sure, kind of sure, that 3 years ago he owed me money. I'm sort of 50% sure that he did not return the money. So just in case he didn't, I'll grab his talis. So this guy is not a mamish a thief. He's not a blatant thief, you know, or thief mamish, because such a thief, says Abaye, is not believed b'shvua. There's a reason why I put the question mark, because it's a machlokas Abaye and Rabbi Yochanan, and Abaye says he's not believed. However, our guy from the Mishnah is what? This kind of guy from the Mishnah says, you know, he may owe me money, and I'm an honest guy, seriously. You know, maybe he doesn't owe me money. He'll take me to court, and now he'll be a moitz mechaber olavaraya. Many times you have a financial issue with people, you say, I'll hold the money, and then we'll discuss the question, yeah? All sides say it, right? So he wants to grab it in order to have the upper hand, and then very respectfully, very religiously, he'll go to Beth Din. So he's a sofek chayav moment to him, but he's not a thief at all. He's not a thief. And we says, however, he's not right either. It's not, of course, it's not doing the right thing, misofik, to grab your friend's shirt. And says the Gemara, the lav amrina and tofis mamoina misfeka mishtabenami misofek. We don't say the person who is light on the in a trigger, is a trigger happy. He's very happy. He's very quick on the draw to take sofik money. He's not going to take sofik shvua. That's different. In other words, sofik money, I'll take the money. Maybe it's mine. Maybe not. I'll discuss later. Mashenkin shvua misofik. That would deter him to say, swear that it's yours. That he won't do. Why? Rav Sheshes supports Abaye. Amar Sheshes Bedavidi. People are deterred, they're poresh, they stop, they go away, they leave charges, they drop, that's the word. They drop the charges, that's the word in English, once Sofik Shvua. In other words, if I'm Nishba and I'm not 100% sure I'm right, I'm dropping it. But Sofik Mama, they don't drop. Yeah, in other words, to take someone else's money in case maybe he owes me, they'll keep to the money, they'll hold it to the money. My time, why? You would say, because Shvua is more chomor. Says the Gemara, no. Mamon isa b'chazaro. Shvua leisa b'chazaro. Not the same. Money, there is a chance that you can give it back, right? Money is not a never done deal. Money, as I already told before, as I sometimes do, I don't think if it's smart, I already gave you the answer of the end. When the guy takes the talis or the cup and he says, mine, 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 it's all open to debate. Yeah? I'm not a bad guy. I'm taking it now. If he wants to discuss it in Beth Din, b'vakasha. It can be returned to him. If Beth Din proves to me that he doesn't owe me, then I'll give it back to him. But it's returnable. And if it Khalila breaks, I'll give him cash. If not, I'll give him land. I'll give him my shoes. The Sheikhin Shvua, Sofik Shvua, if Hashem in Shamayim listen to your Shvua, which is 50% sheker, there's no way you can't take back the Shvua. Maybe you can do tshuva, but that's very, very hard. Shvua is not reversible. The mere fact you take it out of your mouth is already a terrible avera al tzad that it's a lie. That's basically what we say. Now, we don't have much time to see Tosis inside. Maybe tomorrow. We're still left with an open-ended question because Abai basically have a machlokes, right? Rabbi Yochanan says choshid mamoino loy choshid shvuasa. I'm not translating. And Abai says choshid mamoino. If he's real choshid to be a real thief. Not a maybe chayev, real thief, not ne'eman b'shvua. What about the three cases? What about the three cases of shvuas heses? What about the pizza shop guy and the poyalim? They seem to be for sure liars, right? And yet you make them take shvua. How does the Bai explain that, right? What about the guy which we suspect that he's a shomer chinam who wants the jewelry for his wife and he's telling you tall tale? The all nishba says Tosfos quite easily, no. Just like Abai said over here, we suspect that there's an old debt. So too, in all these three cases, we suspect there's an old debt. Wow. Ad kedei kach, which means Abai would say like this. All these people, let's say the pizza shop, the worst case, the pizza shop says, I gave the pizza. The boy says we didn't get. You know why? They have history between them before you don't even know. In other words, one of them thinks that the other one owes him. Or maybe they think that the Balabais owes them from 2 years ago. And that's why they're lying. They're lying. But they're lying, but not stealing. Maybe there's an old debt that they're trying now to settle accounts with. Ad kedei kach. However, says Tosfos, the person who is a koifer in our edim who say that right now he has money, so on the outside of it, it looks like for sure he's lying. Right now he's for sure stealing. A guy steals from a house of someone. A guy who's mamashik gazlan who stole, we don't say it's an old debt. Old debt we only explain in the court case when there are other explanations. But if you see mamish theft in front of your eyes, then you're not down lekav schus anymore, even according to Abaye, and he's not named the shvua. That's a sikum. You can look up Tosfos shvua shalosh lachti bo yad. Yes, we just don't have time. We really don't. Can you ask your question at 10:25? Or it's yeah. Thank you. New topic. Just to get a few lines, so we can say we did more or less the Amud Yomi, and I'll be more than happy to hear you. What's today? Monday. Reb Zera, a whole new question. Unbelievable, crazy case. Talk for echad befanenu mahu. Let's say the two people came to Beth Din, shali, matzasi. One of them, in the middle of the discussion, before they were nishba, he grabbed it from his friend. He actually grabbed it in front of the dayanim. He grabbed it from his friend in front of them before they were nishba. So what do you do then? What do the dayanim do? What's the story? Meaning, how did the victim react? Either shosik, let's say the other side kept quiet, sheepishly looked at him, deer in the lights, didn't say anything, didn't do anything. Or do you delay? That's like admitting shtik yakoido. If he's quiet and like looking at him, that shows he's moida. Why isn't he screaming? When it hurts, you scream. The fact you stand there like that is shtika. And if he screamed right away, my havelol mebad, what else could have he done? Then obviously you go back to half-half. He screams, the fact you grabbed it from me, because he goes to the gym every day. I only go once a week. That's how I grabbed it. I'll scream, Gazlan, sugar. So it's back to square one, like half-half. So what's your question even? Yeah? What's your question? If there's a door, obviously belongs only to the choitev. If the other guy screams, then who cares? It's physically in the hands of the first guy. It's still, what's your case, Bichlal? Answers Gemara Litzricha. The question is as follows. I need it for the following case. The shatik mi'ikora, at the beginning he kept quiet. After the first initial, we'll see what's the beginning, what's the end later on, but a certain period of time he was quiet. The hadar tzovach, and then he remembered all of a sudden to scream, to shout back. He kept quiet, and then he shouted back and he said, he's really a thief and it's mine completely. Zog the Gemara mai. Here we have a question. Now we explain the question of obzera. Midishtik or do you delay? On one you can say, why did you keep quiet? You remember to scream too late? That means it was not spontaneous. Yeah, it's not really yours. You sort of, you're a liar, and you remembered to play your game, to act the act, to dance the dance. You remembered your line in the show, but it was not really spontaneous. You're taking my beloved talis straight away. You kept quiet. That shows your moida really belongs to the one who grabbed it. Or maybe. Came in the katzava chashta. Since at the end of the day, at some point, you did shout and scream, you did protest at some point, then igloi milsa, then we reinterpret retroactively the high the shosik, the fact that he kept quiet at the beginning, mikor at the beginning, sova hokachazule rabonon. Yeah. In other words, he would say, he kept quiet. Why do you have to shout? All these big rabbis over here, 3 people, the dayanim with big white beard. We're in the middle of the police. We're in the middle of the basically, I don't have to shout. They see that he is a thug. They see that he's a bum. They see that he's being violent and brutal. I don't have to shout. Get the question? Again, the question is like this. Do we say because he kept quiet, that shows he's admitting? Yeah, you shouted too late. You remembered your line, Mr. Liar, too late. Or do we say the other way? Forget. I kept quiet because I was sure that the Yomi will right away call the police on this brutal guy. Yeah, for sure realized that he's a liar. Later on, I saw they're not doing anything. Then I started shouting. That's a question. How do you interpret it? So now that's still an open question. Omar of Nachman. Now let's try to resolve it. Omar of Nachman. Toshma comes of Nachman and brings us a brisa that explains the Mishnah. What did the brisa say to qualify the Mishnah? Beis Daled Aleph. Bamed Vor Memurim. When is it true that they shvua? How do you call it? Swear and split. SNS. When do we do swear and split? Shishneim adukin ba. When both sides are aduk, they hold onto it for dear life. Then we say swear and split. But if the talis is what is held by one and the other one is not holding it, so we think, let's say they come to Beth Din, Reuven is holding it, and Shimon is screaming, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Then we say to Shimon, is that a big chiddush for you? Were you not falling on the floor? No. We all know since some point in our lives, I mean, Kita, hey, I think in my case, is what? Of course, one guy holds it, and the other guy needs to bring a raya in form of Eidim, which the Gemara is asking, Echidami, what's the case? If you want to tell me that the case is as it seems, like I just explained it, one is holding and the other one is screaming, Pshita, of course. What's the chiddush? Avada. One is holding, the other one's not holding. Yeah, that's chiddush stuff. Of course, what's mechaber and be'edim. What's the chiddush? Ella must be shetok for echad befanenu. Must be that they both came to Beth Din together, right? One, they held it together, and then Reuven gave a shenet hug. Boom. A pool says Reuven didn't say, he acted, and Shimon is there. Then we say to Shimon, you, Mr. Shimon, you're Moitzi Mechaber Lo V'Raya. I assume, in case of what? In case what? Yeah. Says the Gemara, no, 1 minute. Yeah, get that? In other words, you're trying to say the case which you had as a question is resolved here. Look, we had them both coming together. One snatched it. The other one is, screamed, but not early enough. That's our case. And what do we paskin? We say, no, your screaming was too late. And really, Reuven is the one holding it, he'll get it. And Shimon, who was too late in screaming, showed incredibility, showed he's not so believed, not so plausible. And Reuven will keep it, and Shimon shouted too late. That's what we're assuming now. We're going to reject it soon, but that's the assumption. Remember, tomorrow we're in the word Beth Din. Bava Amud Aleph, in the word Beth Din. The Gemara is going to reject it soon, and we'll take us back to Sumchus from the Shoshan of Saporo and have an amazing good day. And I'm more than happy to hear Baruch's Chosheva question. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking about that too.